Okay, so this is what the Google form will look like that you will fill out to sign up for courses next year. So I'm just going to make a video of myself walking through it so you can kind of see what it looks like and maybe clarify some things on there in case you have questions. So obviously your name, make sure you put like your last name first and your first name last. Always confusing to say. Your current grade in school, what you are this year. So let's say I am a sophomore and I'm going to be a junior next year. Okay, so then it's just going to go through each department. Now remember, your counselor is going to have a sheet delivered to your advocacy that is going to tell you what classes you're required to take next year. There might be some recommended courses on there if we know that you're interested in certain careers or have a certain path that you want to take. But you will come and check the box of the course that you want to take. So let's say I'm a sophomore, so my counselor says I need to take English 11. There it is. You'll also notice that this is a list of all the courses within the English department. So if you did want to take, let's say, journalism as well, you're really into writing. Some of the courses also have indications on there if they're only for certain grade levels, or like if journalism here, for an example, can be taken more than once. So some of those little tidbits are there. I do want to point out for our special education students, we decided not to list all the special ed courses within each department. Um, the list gets really long. We add another, 6, 7 English courses to this. Just worried about confusion with regular ed students, maybe picking special ed English courses and vice versa. So if you are going to be in a special ed English class, you just check the box. Your case manager and your counselor have already worked together. We know what those classes are. Um, so you will see that option for each of the core departments. Okay, so that's English. Then we go to math. Let's say sophomore year, I'm taking geometry. I passed that. So next year, let's say I'm going to take algebra 2. And then again, down here at the bottom is if you're in special ed math, you just check that box. Your counselor and your case manager will consult on which math class you need to take. Science, let's say my counselor recommends that I take biology next year. Um, Again, the option for special ed science for those students. And then for science, you'll notice there's this option here that you don't wish to take a science course. If you've passed science your first 2 years of high school, technically you've met that requirement. So, um, you know, if you choose not to take a science course, there is that option there. I should point out too that a lot of these have the other option. If you want to type specific notes in here for your counselor, you're welcome to do that. But my counselor knows that I want to go to college, and so is recommending that third year of science and recommending that I take biology. Social studies, my counselor is telling me that in 11th grade I need to take US history. And let's say I'm really interested in psychology, so I'm going to pick both psychology classes. Again, down here is the option for our special ed social studies students, or for those of you that by senior year have met your social studies requirement and let's say you don't want to take any more social studies, there is that option there. If you check that box though, and you're required, so junior year is required I'm required to take US history. And if you check the box that I don't wish to take social studies, your counselor will end up signing you up for US history. So just know that we are aware of those things. PE and health, I'm not taking a full academic load. So I'm going to sign up for activity PE. For those of you that are athletes and choose to be enrolled in the advanced PE, it has the terms indicated here. Please make sure you check with your coach for which terms your coach wants you to enroll. For our band students, if you're in band or color guard and not taking PE, there's that option. And if you haven't taken driver's ed, there's the checkbox here for if you were born on or before November 1st to take driver's ed. Then it's going to go through the core departments if you're interested in any of these courses. And they will all have the indicator that, if there are not any classes in those departments you're interested in, to check that box, or in other if you want to submit notes. So let's say I'm interested in veterinary science. And let's say I took art foundations already, and now I want to take painting. And let's say I want to take sculpture. And business, let's say I want to take business, and I passed computer technology 1 and want to take computer technology 2. Um, let's say I need to take my consumer ed requirement. Here is the box for special ed consumer education for those students. And let's say I took orientation of family and consumer science, and I'm really interested in nutrition and culinary arts 1 and 2. Again, I'm just doing this as an example. Let's say I'm interested in electronics. And let's say I'm a band student, so I'll click on those. And maybe I'm a band and a choir student, so I'll click on those as well. World language, yeah, let's say I took Spanish 1 and 2 and really enjoyed it, so I'm going to sign up for 3 and 4. Or, maybe you're interested in taking German or French, you can check on those boxes. For our ESL students, we do have this French for Heritage Speakers option for you. And then for our GAVC courses, now the first 3 courses that are listed, Job Search, Mini Shop, and STEP, those are only special ed courses for our special ed students. And then we have our GAVC courses, if any of you are interested in those. So let's say I'm really interested in fire science. And as you notice, I've picked way more than what's going to fit in my schedule. And that's okay. In fact, we want that because we always ask you to give us some alternate courses. But here it's going to ask you which elective classes are you the most excited to take? Or essentially, what elective classes do you want in your schedule? And so I'll just base it off my own personal experience from when I was in high school. Let's say band, a course like electronics, um, let's say fire science, and let's say business. Those are the classes that I really want. Then it's going to ask you if you're interested in taking any dual credit courses through Sandberg. This is only for students that are going to be juniors or seniors next year. If you're only going to be a sophomore, you would check no automatically. But let's say I'm really not interested in that. If you're going to be a senior next year, are you interested in the Knox Early College Program? If you have a 3.8 GPA or higher and are in the top 10% of your class, if you check yes, then we know that we need to get information to you about that. And I'm going to go back up here, and if you check yes on the dual credit, then we know we need to get information to you about that. Let's say I'm not interested in dual credit, not interested in that. Are you interested in playing sports after you graduate high school? That's important for us to know because there are eligibility requirements for the NCAA. There's certain amount of classes that you have to take more than what's required to graduate. So we need to know those things so we can get those in your schedule. Um, let's say I'm not. Are you interested in graduating after midterm of your senior year? Um, just note that you can't have any failures to graduate at midterm of your senior year. If you fail any courses, then you can't graduate at midterm. But if you are, then we know, if you check yes, then we know that senior year we need to get those classes into your schedule term 1 and 2. But let's say I'm not. Pretend that I'm not. Then it's going to ask you what your plans are after you graduate from high school. Do you want to go to a 4-year college or university? Do you want to go to Sandberg? Do you want to enlist in the military? Do you want to attend an apprenticeship program? Or do you want to go straight into the workforce? And you can check more than one option if you're not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to go to Sandberg or enroll in an apprenticeship program. And then it's going to ask you what career or careers are you interested in? Well, I signed up for fire science, so that's something that really interests me. So you could put that down. Yeah, I'm also interested in business. So you can list as many things there as you want. But again, it just kind of gives us a gauge of, help put the best schedule in place for you next year. Finally, it's going to ask for your contact information. This is really helpful for us, especially if we're working on your schedule over the summer where, when you're not here at school, where we can reach out to you. So what is an email address? that you check on a regular basis. I know a lot of students have a separate email address besides their school one. That's fine. Or what's a phone number that we can reach you at if we need to call you or text you if we have questions about your schedule. So I'm just going to put my email address in. And then you are ready to hit submit. Now remember, you can only hit submit once. You can only fill this out once. So you want to make sure everything is accurate before you do so. Um, but if you're good to go, you hit submit. Now, let's say a week later you change your mind. Oh, I signed up for fire science and I meant to put law enforcement. Just no problem. Email your counselor. We will make that change for you. Not a big deal. Um, that's not uncommon. Students change their mind. You're not locked into anything. Once you submit this form, um, once your schedule's built, it's a different story. It becomes more complicated to change things. But if you submit something and made a mistake or want to change something, don't stress out about it. Just email us. It's an easy change for us, not a big deal. If you have any further questions about filling out this form, don't hesitate to email us. We'll be happy to help you.